Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, Russia made a very important decision and it's a very big change, and that is how much Russia will allocate for its defense industry. As you probably know, the United States of America has provided the Defense Department, the Pentagon and all that, with $850 billion, right? Now we find out that Russia increased its budget, military budget, very much. Now I will discuss that and if that's viable or feasible, possible. This article comes from the New Voice of Ukraine, so that's from the haters, Russian haters. It's unfortunate that we look at it like that. I think the Ukrainians and the Russians, could have come to an agreement without the Zimbabwe from across Atlantic, but it's not too late, even though so many people perished and the country is fucked up and all that. So this article comes, as I said, from the New Voice of Ukraine, December 11th, 2022. Putin signs budget with 30% for defense, UK intelligence reports. Hey, you guys who live in Great Britain, United Kingdom, can you go and ask those guys from the UK intelligence if they found Saddam's weapons of mass destruction? And if they found it, then I will believe them, okay? If they didn't, then I will still not believe them, all right? So this report comes from the UK intelligence. All right. So these allocations represent a much higher share of security spending than previous years, the Ministry of Defense noted. No shit. And I'm quoting, "This is a significant increase compared to prior years and will represent over 30% of Russia's entire budget," the ministry wrote, adding that the approved budget is likely over-optimistic in its expectation of revenue and spending in 2023. That's exactly what I wanted to point out. And I'm quoting, "Therefore, other parts of Russia's budget are likely to come under increasing pressure to support the costs of the war," they concluded. It was reported earlier that Putin was going to significantly increase spending on defense compared to the previously planned amount, while adapting to the greater needs of the longer and increasingly expensive full-scale war against Ukraine. First, there's not a full-scale war. Let's get that shit figured out. Full-scale war means this: you get all the military possible that you have, and you employ all the weapons at your disposal, and you blow up everything that your enemy has. Do you see that happening in Ukraine? Yeah, me neither. I don't see that happening, okay? Russians employ maybe no more than 300,000, let's say 400,000, I don't see 400, 300,000 military. The rest are auxiliaries, Kadyrovites, Lugansk people, Donetsk people, Crimean people, and those guys. When Russia invaded Ukraine, invaded it with a special operation to support those guys, not to fight their war. You remember initially how many Russian personnel was at the border with Ukraine? 150,000. Why not 30 million? That would be an all-scale, full-scale war. All right, so that's the first point that I would like to make about these guys. The other one is, well, the Russians can tell you they're going to spend 30%, but they're not going to do that. They're probably going to do 5 or 10. Let's say even if, there's going to be the third point, even if they could, they tell you that, so you say, the Russia is outspending us. What does that mean? That means the Pentagon and all these weasels will start spending more. But the Russians are not going to spend 30%, they're going to spend 6%, like United States, I think. So if you have 6%, right, but you say 30%, everybody's going to say, oh my God, 30%, we got to increase. They're going to bomb the shit out of us. And the Russians like, no, we're not going to do that. We just want you to have a better economy, and the people will have a lower life standard of living, and they will maybe change course. How about in a democratic country? So that's another one, which is disinformation. And the third one, well, you can say, okay, we're going to have 30%, we're going to put for defense. But can you? Can you do that? In a way, not that you are writing down. Is it viable? Can you allocate all those, not funds, do you have the resources to do that? I mean, yeah, we're going to allocate it 30%. Yeah, but do you have the materials? Do you have the technology? Can you build all those things? Whatever you want to build with the 30% of your budget. Or you don't. So you can want, but you can't. So so these are the 3 points. One is, do you have it? Can you do it? You know? The second one is trying to fool the other ones that are really going to be like, oh my God, Russia is arming itself more. The Putin war machine. Right? And the third one would be, maybe they really do it. Maybe they will really be able and willing to do it, if you know what I mean. And they will do it. Now, even like that, the Russian budget, I think, is about $60-some billion. So if you take about 30% out of that, will be like what, 20 billion. Well, that's from the budget, the military budget. I don't know exactly how big the budget is of Russia for the defense budget. I don't know how much it is from the GDP. And but if they're gonna go 30%, it's a lot, because I think it's like 6% in other countries, 2%, 3% at the most, you know. And this guy's 30%. I think it's just a how do you call it, a disinformation act to make the other guys say, oh my God, these guys are planning to us up. We gotta do our shit. And these guys, for real, because they're gonna be scared, and we have plenty of people to get people scared, they will say, oh, we can't have only 2% anymore. Germany, France, and all this. And they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot again. How? We're gonna get it to at least 15%. Okay, get it 15%. Where's that money coming from? What kind of economy you gonna have? What kind of industry we're gonna have? You know, these guys here in the United States of America, they say, well, the reason why the Soviet Union collapsed, that's how the story goes here, okay? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's more complex than that, and there are other factors more important than this little aspect. Yes, I said little. And it was, we outspent them. That's how it goes. We just bankrupt Soviet Union, yeah, man, and chest bumping, and give me the beer and all that. I've heard, I spoke, I've seen it, okay? With people like that. And they were not, you know, I don't want to insult anybody, but they were not, I don't know, a doorman at a hotel or something. Anyway, and they were all, yes, we did this, yes, we bankrupt, that's how we did it. Ronald Reagan started with his Star Wars initiative, remember? And that scared the shit out of the Russians. First, they were not Russians, they were Soviets, but anyway, you asked too much. And these are intellectuals I spoke with, anyway. Anyway, so we go back to this. I think this is just a propaganda thing. It's just a disinformation campaign to make these guys more scared and switch from, I don't know, producing food and shoes and all that into producing bullets, because the Russians are going to invade you yesterday. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.